A new hope arises. With Star Wars in disarray and the future of the franchise in peril, a ray of hope shines on the horizon. Jedi General Dave Filoni and his army of superfans have saved the Clone Wars, bringing joy into the hearts of many. With stupid changes brought into the Star Wars universe through devious means by evil corporate forces, a ray of hope shines out against their dubious plans as Star Wars takes a turn for the better and is returned back to its roots with great storytelling and well thought out characters.
All right, everybody, welcome back. And so we finally got episode 1 of season 7 of the Clone Wars, something that we have been waiting so many years for. Dave Filoni and Disney finally teamed up to bring us back the greatest Star Wars animated series of all time. So season 7, episode 1 was full of a lot of action. And here to talk about it with me today are my co-hosts Leo.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, Leo, aka supermechguy.
And Captain.
Bitty, what's up? It's Cam Beatty here.
So basically, just so you guys know, this whole episode is just going to be, we're just going to delve right into everything about this episode. We're going to pick apart what we liked, what we didn't like, which the didn't like part's going to be a lot less than what we did like. Basically, each of us are going to give our own thoughts about the episode, our favorite things from the episode, and then we'll look ahead to episode 2 and predict where Disney's going to take us next and what kind of roller coaster Dave Filoni is going to put us on for next week. So first off, we'll start with going into Leo. Leo, what are some of your first impressions of the new season? What did you like from this episode? What did you didn't like? So why don't you just talk about it for a little bit?
Well, like I brought up with Captain earlier in the pre-talk show, I guess you could call it. This is episode 4, and it's episode 1 of the Clone Wars season 7, and well, it gave us a new hope, that's for sure. Cheesy joke, I know, but I don't know if the audience saw what was previously shown from the unfinished. Unfinished animations from the episode that came out a couple ago. I know I showed it to you guys a couple ago. And pretty much kind of the same thing that they went on for the majority of the official release, right? The new one that we got recently, and I like the episode, like the way I don't want to say graphics, I guess the animation style, because when I say graphics, I think of more like of a video game, right, guys?
Pretty much.
But regardless, I still like how it looked. I liked the tactics the Bad Batch were using, where they were rushing forward that metal piece thingy. I don't have a
the door from the dropship.
Yeah, they were rushing forward with it. One of them would throw the grenade. One of the
and also all the regular or regs as they call them, all the regular clones are just completely sitting back and watching, not even helping, and they just watch as these 4 guys take out it had to have been hundreds of droids. It's just pretty epic though.
Yeah, you just have like the regular dudes chilling in the back. It's like playing Call of Duty as like a level 1 recruit, and then like the master guy comes in, he's like, "Don't worry, mate, you got it." Freaking drops a nuke within 5 minutes of the damn game. It's insane. These guys are pretty badass, and my favorite one has to be the dude that looks like Rambo. I don't know about you, Beardy. Who's your favorite guy?
Ooh, see, I've always kind of played snipers in games, so the sniper variant of the clone was kind of, what was it called? Deadshot, I think it was called. But I do like Tech. Tech was a very fun guy.
Jason, what about you? Which clone did you like the best?
Probably the Rambo looking guy, as you said too. He was definitely, he was kind of him and Rex kind of had that dynamic of bringing and Cody really had the dynamic of bringing both the clone groups, the regulars and the Bad Batch, like together, kind of wrangling up the rest of them to say, stop fighting, we're all fighting for the same cause, we're all on the same team, there's no reason to fight between each other. I really liked all of them. They all kind of they all worked in their own unique ways. They all advanced the story. They all advanced the plot individually. But yeah, the Rambo looking guy definitely was my favorite out of all of them. So, another revelation that we got is that obviously Echo is alive, which is something that I mean, when he originally quote unquote died back in I think it was episode 19 of season 3, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check on that. I'll have to check on that.
The Citadel episode where they got
Yeah.
to rescue the Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he basically just gets blown up. I mean, the last thing you see of him is Rex yelling Echo, and then just his helmet. I mean, we assume maybe his head was in there, but obviously we have no idea. We also thought that Jango Fett. Yeah, we also thought that Jango Fett's head was in there, but like in the Robot Chicken episode when it falls out of the helmet, but that we didn't get that with Echo, so there's no confirmation of that. But I mean, obviously somehow. I mean, my theory is that he was obviously somehow captured by the Separatists, and he's obviously giving out that signal to try to say to Rex or any other clones who recognize the signal, like, come help me, I need help. So I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on that? You guys want to go into where we might see Echo in the near future, how long maybe until we see him back on screen? If he's intricate to the plot of the whole season. Captain, do you have anything to say on that?
Well, I will quickly just disagree. You said that when Rex finds his CT number in the audio log, he's like sending that out there to be saved. No, I do know for a fact that yes, it is a trap. No, he has a robotic body. This was a thing released from like way back when they were like, yeah, no, it was cancelled. So here's a bunch of stuff from what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He has a majority robotic body, and they've hooked him up to a computer kind of mainframe that transmits battle plans, which is why the clones were like, we keep losing because they're using our battle plans, which is why Rex thinks he's alive. So he's basically just brainwashed, sat in the Matrix, and they're like pumping battle plans into him, and he's like, oh yeah, no, this is what's happening. They say you got to counteract it. I think he's going to be in the next episode. It's going to be Rex.
They're going to go straight into it?
Oh, yeah, no. Rex and Cody are going to be like, yo, Jedi Master Anakin Skywalker, like, he's alive. Can we go rescue him? And they'll be like, it's on this heavily fortified planet. Don't know if we should do this. And then they're just going to, like, the Bad Batch is going to be like, nah, mate, nah, watch this. And they're just going to go, we are the Clone Squad 99. We don't listen to orders. We do how we want to do. Let's go get him out. And then they salsa dance over to an Nexus, and they're just like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" I don't know why they're Mexican now for some reason, but they're Mexican now. But I bloody love this episode, especially for the fact that Wrecker uses the Clone Commando assault rifle. He uses I can't remember the name of it, but I was watching them on, and it's like they've all got unique weapons, which is really cool, and all the weapons have different sounds. Because Tech uses the same. What are they, like, D17 pistols or whatever they're called? He uses them, but they have a different sound. So he's obviously upgraded them. Hunter is just Rambo. He just runs around with a knife. It'd be funny if he had a bow. That'd be pretty
right? Like a blaster bolt
and
or something.
Also, they've all got unique things, but Hunter's is just god tier because they're like, oh yeah, no, Hunter can sense
electromagnetic, right?
Yeah, he's like anywhere on a planet. I'm just like, what?
That's
like he stood on one.
Stuff, right?
You have brute strength, you have intelligence, then you have just being sick with a sniper rifle, and then you just have pure badass who can just basically do anything and track where people are just by picking something up off the ground or listening with his ears.
Record's
I mean, it's just crazy.
Slow.
Yeah, I got to admit, I also approve of their nicknames, which is Hunter, Crosshairs, Tech, and Wrecker, because it perfectly fits them.
Definitely.
To a degree of like just pure sheer awesome. I had a grin on my face through this entire episode, and the only difference that I've noticed between Season 6 and Season 7 is that Season 7 has slightly more detailed shaders, like in the graphic style. That's all I've noticed. I haven't noticed any changes in like story, how episode plots out, character development. Like Rex isn't now suddenly just like super wise or something. He's still kind of gung ho.
Yeah, he's still Rex.
Yeah, Cody's still like, let's do it by the book. Apart from when he brings in Clone Squad 99.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's very much similar, almost as if we got this a year after Season 6 came out. Just like you were saying.
Yeah, it's not like the movies where they're like, oh, what's that? You dead? Oh no, wait, force heal,
Yeah.
you're back to life.
Oh.
It's like, it's just straight up what we had in season 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. It's good storytelling, it's good characters, and it's only one episode, but I'm already pumped for next Friday.
Yeah. Yeah,
Qui-Gon could
it's
have used that force healing.
Oh yeah.
it's given me that Mandalorian, feel now that
Oh yeah.
every single episode we want more. Maybe I will admit, maybe not as much as the Mandalorian, only because this season we have a lot longer. I believe it's 15 episodes. I was thinking that they were going to extend the episodes maybe to 30 minutes, but I like that they kept it like I think this one was 24 minutes exactly.
Yeah,
Almost,
roughly.
even though there isn't commercials, it still kept that old, Cartoon Network
Yeah.
feel of with the commercials and it only being 22 to 24 minutes. But yeah, the episode as a whole was really, really good. I just want to, you brought up the animation. I just want to talk about that. I mean, the animation, one of the things that I was worried about going into season 7
Got to be cheaper
was
or
that
something.
it was that they were going to kind of overdo it with the animation and make it so modern to the point where it doesn't feel like Clone Wars. I mean, you look at things and you say, oh, Yoda has a obviously real world movies live action look, which is the puppet in the original trilogy, and then when he appears as a Force Ghost in episode 8, and then as the completely garbage, weird, freaky puppet in episode 1 before they made the special editions to put him all CGI, and then in episodes 2 and 3 when he was CGI. So you have movie live action Yodas, and then you have, and it's not just you have an animated series Yoda, you have Rebels Yoda, and then when he appears to talk to Ezra, and then you have Clone Wars Yoda. And same thing with every single other character. I mean, even with Anakin, because Anakin appears in that one hologram, with Ahsoka and Ezra when they're watching it on the ship in Rebels, and he just looked completely different. I mean, and they always talk about the art style being different between Rebels and the Clone Wars, and obviously live action is not an art style, but like with the animated series, I mean, Clone Wars has such a distinct look, and that's why when they made Rebels is the animation's completely different and everything just looks completely different, no matter if it's the same character from the Clone Wars. But so the Clone Wars has such a distinct, unique look, and yet they kept that distinct, unique look, even though it's 6 years later with 6 new years worth of better technology that they could make this thing probably look like incredible CGI like we see in video game cutscenes. But that's not what they set out to do, because what Dave Filoni wanted to do was keep it just like the show that he originally made, as if we're getting this season in 2015 rather than getting it now, as if we picked up right where we left off. And that to me is my favorite part, because the animation, the explosion. I mean, obviously in the trailer we saw that beautiful shot, which everyone's saying was the best shot of the trailer, of Obi-Wan's lightsaber with the rain touching it, and you just see how beautiful, and you see the kind of the steam coming off of the lightsaber as the rain's hitting it, and that scene just looks beautiful animation. And I mean, they can do that. They can make every little intricate detail they can because they have that capability, but still keep the old animation style, which is exactly what they did for this episode, which I absolutely love, and makes me looking a lot more forward to season 7 than I was, because I was a little bit skeptical about what they were going to do in the animation sense. And the explosions look just so much like night and day better, and that doesn't take away from the animation style or the feel of it being the Clone Wars, just because it looks newer and better, because it is 6 years later, it's going to be newer and better no matter what. And then everything else, I mean, it felt even when they're talking, just like the syncing up between them, their mouths moving, and the real sound, the real speech that we're getting is exactly like it was. They could probably make it look exactly perfectly, and they could make more details on the mouth and how it moves and whatnot, but that's not what they wanted to do, because they want to make it feel exactly like how we remember it. And that's the best part. I mean, a lot of people are saying, on Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and YouTube, that it's literally making them think back to when they were kids watching this series, even though now most of us who watched it as kids are now adults, either in college or with our own jobs, and we're going back to watch this on Disney Plus on Friday at midnight, because we still feel like kids when it comes to Star Wars, right? I think we all do. And it just, everyone's saying, I mean, the best part about it is it just gives you the feel of you watching it when you were a little kid. It takes you back to those days sitting at home on the couch watching the episodes come out on Cartoon Network back in 2008. I mean, that's just what it feels like, and that's, I mean, for me, that's all I could have asked for. I mean, all I could ask for is the trip down memory lane, taking me to this with the same characters, the same animation style, everything that I loved when I was a little kid, and just giving it to me now as an adult. And it just makes it feel that much better, that everything is basically the same, just as where we left off. And that's my biggest praise of it. So, I mean, do you guys have any other specific praises you want to hit before we go into the very, very short list of negatives, if we even have any?
Well, I want to talk about their armor sets. I mean, obviously,
Uh-huh.
the regs, have their nice
Yeah.
white, tidy armor, which in itself, they probably, it is battle damage and so on and so forth. But I just like the way the Bad Batch has their armor. It's just cool. It's just cool looking. And then Wrecker has like that kind of like skull thing going on with his mask. I just love the way these guys look.
Well, Clone Force 99 is a commando force, so they've probably got all the best tech and all that kind of stuff. Kind of like, is it Echo Squad from the game that we had that appeared slightly in I think it was season 5. I think when one of the Jedi's was killed by Savage Opress, which is still
Yeah.
beautiful name. Yeah, when the two little people die, two little people, sorry, but we get the clone squad from the previous game turn up. The clone batch 99 are a commando squad, which probably explains why their armor is all black and funky and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so so obviously we have a whole lot of praise for this episode. I mean, I'm just gonna ask you, is there anything that you want to bring up as a negative to this? I mean, anything at all? Or, I mean, we probably really have nothing, right?
The fact that it's too short.
Yeah,
me,
that it's
I wanted more. I wanted more. I was like, no, you can't end it there. Give me more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I guess we'll pick up on this same storyline with Echo probably in the next episode.
I hope so.
Or, I mean, we don't know how long it's going to take before we get back into the Ahsoka arc. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen simultaneously. One thing that I definitely want to see in the next episode, I mean, I'd like to, I do like the whole clone aspect that we got in this, but I can't wait to also see, getting a new look at Anakin and getting a new look at Obi-Wan and all those, and Mace Windu and Yoda. I mean, we got glimpses of all of them, just very, quick glances, basically, a few lines, but yeah. So, I mean, the nostalgia is definitely there. I mean, the character development in this episode was amazing. I mean, the Bad Batch is just. I hope we just keep seeing them throughout the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they kind of just become a staple in the whole Legion of Clones, and it's kind of just like, oh yeah, when they're sending a group out, you send out the 501st, and then you just, oh yeah, send the Bad Batch, and they kind of become synonymous with this. The Clone Force 99 becomes synonymous with this name known as the Bad Batch. And I also just want to touch on the fact that it's such a cool like story point to have the fact that these guys all have like just genetic malfunctions in them, because you think about how many clones that the Kaminoans raised and the Kaminoans made, right? I mean, that some of them had deformities. That some of them had issues that didn't make them like the rest. And we see some of them throughout the Clone Wars and throughout Rebel, kind of had like a mind of their own. Like in the Clone Wars, I believe it was season 2. I want to say maybe episode 10 or 11, somewhere around there. In the in the middle of season 2, we have the arc where Rex and a few members of the 501st, they get stranded on that farmland. And you see the clone who abandoned his family. I mean, not abandoned his family, who went for his family. Yeah, and abandoned the clones. Yeah, the Republic. I mean, that was a unique, plot point, because out of all these clones, there's some that left. There's some that have minds of their own. Obviously, we know Rex takes out the inhibitor chip. I don't know. Maybe we'll see that in this season. Some of them have minds of their own. Some of them, chose not to stick with the Republic either before, like, that clone did, or they chose to, not stay in allegiance with the Republic at Order 66 when, they didn't choose to kill their Jedi or whatnot, just like Rex did, and they went on to live lives of their own, secret or whatnot, and or like Gregor or Wolf. And the whole idea of them having malfunctions and that making them have this like superhuman strength. I mean, I feel like that's a really, really neat plot point to build off of. And what resulted in the Bad Batch was just completely badass, and I just can't wait to see more of them throughout the rest of the season. So before we move into talking about some preview of Clone Wars Episode 2, which we will get this Friday, are there anything else that you guys just want to touch on before we move on?
I'm fine, Captain.
Well, you do know why they're called Clone Troop 99, don't you?
No, I'm not exactly sure.
Because of the greatest clone that ever lived, 99, the janitor clone who died.
I never picked up on that. I do remember 99.
When Cody says that they're called Clone Squad 99 or whatever, Rex turns to him and says, "That's nice because it's honoring 99, who was just this defect clone."
Yeah.
Even
wanted to fight.
Even though he was just a defect and had no ability to fight, still had that kind of oomph in him, and goes out in a badass way. Like, it might not be a honorable, super death like we get with some of them, like Fordor, when he's holding off that entire squad of super battle droids with a rotisserie cannon. But yeah, no, it was nice to see that they honored 99. And as for the defects, they're all programmed defects. They're all desirable defects. They're all designed to have these. And it is kind of funny seeing the fact that they still technically have Jango Fett's face, but it's like really long or like more Rocky Balboa looking or just thick with. And it was just but it's like every time I looked at him, I went, "That's Jango Fett." And I didn't go, who's that face? Or who's that face?
Yeah.
And it was, I really like the fact that they're using defective clones, because it shows you that, they needed to bring in this this extra force to fight in a different way. Especially when we realize, through Rex that he's like, they know my battle plans. And Rex is like a clone who doesn't think like clones, as he states. He's like, all of my battle plans are a little bit.
Yeah, he has a mind of his own. He's a lot more.
So they were just like, "Oh, right, okay. So we've learned your battle plans," and then he's immediately like, "That means Echo must be alive." It's just like, yes, Echo is alive. Go and rescue him, my friend. But I don't know. It would be nice to see more like defective clones in a way. It would be. I know the Bad Batch
maybe like throughout the whole entire series, but obviously we can't go back and change what was already made.
Obviously, but it would be nice to see like maybe like a clone that was designed entirely for infiltration, and he's like, I don't know, his genetic defect is he can mutate his face or whatever or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean the Kaminoans would have the capability to do that to specific clones if they wanted to. So that is definitely something that Dave Filoni and the story group could tackle if they wanted to. But who knows if we'll end up getting more of that for the rest of the season.
Well, there was one final thing that I think I think it is a correct thing to say this, but Anakin was being a very moody boy because Ahsoka had left, which is why he doesn't say a lot. Because if you notice, he's just kind of got his arms folded and he's being very stoic. He doesn't.
And even in the end, even in season 6, he wasn't really.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like quipping with Rex or doing anything because he's still kind of sad that Ahsoka's left. Now, I don't know if in the timeline of fighting that Ahsoka has left at this point, or if she's off on like a different mission, or where in the story arc of the Clone Wars itself that it takes place. Because Clone Wars has never been.
Yes, we do know that they all take place in random.
It's I think it's called an anthology series where it just jumps around through different times. But I would recommend going and watching the Clone Wars in order. It's quite fun. Hard to do, but quite fun. But yeah, I think Anakin was being moody for that reason, which was nice to see that they were like, oh yeah, no, Ahsoka left in one of the most gut wrenching arcs possible. He's going to be a little depressed boy for a bit. So that
And
I just loved it.
he'll be very depressed by the end of
Oh
season.
yeah.
We know that for our season 7. We know that for sure. But yeah, that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to is just basically seeing Anakin turn just all over again. I mean, that was one of my favorite things about episode 3. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I don't know about you guys, a lot of people, but definitely myself included, wanted to see a little bit more of just pure dark side badass Anakin than, than kind of the in between Anakin that we got for most of episode 3. But yeah, so I mean, that's what we're most likely going to get. I mean, we also don't know necessarily how this season's going to be broken down because obviously we know now we have 14 episodes left. This episode, other than the hinting at Echo being around, we don't really have any major plot development, plot points or whatnot that's going to affect the rest of the season happening in this first episode. But so that basically means within these next 14 episodes, we're gonna have Ahsoka come back fairly quickly. Somehow we're gonna have to get into the inner workings, the beginnings of the plan to execute Order 66 between Palpatine and obviously we know Dooku knew about it. It's gonna we're gonna have to get the Maul and Ahsoka fight. Obviously we know that this we've seen in the trailer clips that happening simultaneously during the events of Revenge of the Sith. So that means that at some point, we have no idea if it's going to be in episode 3 or in episode 8 or in maybe the last episode, and it's just all thrown into the last episode, but I don't really think they do. But we really have no idea how they're going to break the season down. We have no idea when we're going to get into stuff that takes place during Revenge of the Sith, and maybe I don't know if they'll go into after. I mean, I don't think we'll. Maybe we'll get something of Vader. Like, they'll have James Earl Jones come in and say 2 words or whatever.
They'll say no.
Yes, just have him yell no again. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we still have to see within 14 episodes, and with you got to figure that. Leading right up to Order 66, I mean I would like at least maybe 3 to 4 episodes that's all about just right at Revenge of the Sith,
just
execution of Order 66. Yeah, just all of that. That we need a couple episodes of that, and obviously that will be at the end. And then I think probably the climax of the series will be that Ahsoka Maul fight, which looks like it's taking place in the Jedi Temple during Order 66 maybe, or maybe right after, right before. Who knows exactly when we're going to get that. But so before we look ahead into a few months down the line, let's look ahead into next week, or not next week anymore, this Friday, when we're going to get episode 2 of Clone Wars season 7. So why don't we go into Leo first? Are there any hopes, any predictions that you have as to what we'll see in this next episode?
What I'd like to see would be them, going on a rescue mission for Echo, but I don't know, like we brought up earlier, what the pacing is going to be for this, since we have 15 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So, we may be going there, I mean, I think it's a trap, obviously them going to him, and I uploaded a photo editor, put it on screen if you can. About Echo in the prototype stages. I don't know if you guys saw that in the chat, but I think that's gonna be him in that whole that whole thing Beardy was talking about, how he's hooked up to some mainframe system, and he's just.
Oh, are we gonna get the Rise of Skywalker Palpatine action out of him?
I mean,
maybe in
I
a
don't
little
know.
mechanical seat, lifting him up and down. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I want to see it go. Just go to the next.
Straight into Echo.
Yeah, straight into Echo. I mean, you can go to other parts. I'm not angry, by any means. I mean, we have it back, so anything at this point is awesome. But for me, I want to see them get kind of screwed by going with Echo, because, like Admiral Akbar said, it's a trap.
Captain, what do you want to look for next week?
For next week, I kind of want to see what happens with, and I think he's called. No, he's not called Krell. What's he called? The spider guy. Can't remember his name, but General Spider who runs the. No, the separatist forces.
I
Oh,
thought
the
you were talking
separate.
about
Oh, the guy.
Greeks.
Wait, yeah. So that guy, I was thinking about it the whole episode. I can't remember his name either.
No,
And
yeah.
didn't we like think? I mean, he looks like half mechanical, correct?
He
Or am I
got
just losing my mind?
there was an episode previous where Bail
Because I
Organa
do
is trapped on
remember.
a planet and they give Anakin the stealth ship and he flies his own torpedo. He flies the Spider Guy's torpedoes into the bridge of his ship, which is why
Yeah,
he's now part mechanic.
I do remember like being like, oh, thank God that guy's gone. Like, I just remember having that like feeling watching the rest of the Clone Wars series, but I can't remember at what part of this because I've never really cared for that guy. I just think his little like the little where he, like he puts his teeth together. I absolutely despise that. I just completely hate
Yeah.
that. Just because like one of my least favorite scenes in all of Star Wars is the scene when the members of the banking clan are kind of gathered around that table in episode 2 talking to Dooku, and you have all those um stupid weird creatures. Like I don't like how Pago the Lesser talks, and then he also does that like unga unga, like that weird noise thing that this guy from the
Already
Clone Wars
clicked.
does. Yeah, the click thing. And then you have that I don't know if you guys remember like the big robot looking guy
Oh,
who
the
literally
radio
just like
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he just presses the button on his chest and just makes like staticky noises. That's one of my least favorite scenes, and that guy like reminds me as if like he was in the middle of that scene. So I never really cared for him. And the fact that he was back, I was like, I mean, all right, we have a familiar face, but like, and I'm all about like familiar faces and nostalgia, but I'm like, we really don't need this guy. I really don't care for him. But
Well, I think he's gonna. I think he might finally die at the end of next episode because they were like they've discovered like the clone droid commando was like, yeah, no, they discovered the signal, and he was like, what?
yeah.
So I think he's going to try and like rush over there, and in the process probably get himself blown up and turned into calamari or something.
And
Probably.
click his teeth a few more times. All right, so basically, I don't really know where to start. Stuff that I mean, you guys are both definitely going down the Echo route. I still think that we could maybe get not really an episode off, but we could go into a different storyline because this is different than the Mandalorian, where you kind of have one main storyline that you got to follow. With the Clone Wars, it's always been you have the Jedi stuff and the clone stuff. The majority of the fan base likes the clone stuff the most. I like 50-50. I like them evenly, but I really, really do love the Jedi stuff as well. All the Jedi. I love all the Jedi that we get in the prequels. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into all that Jedi stuff and Jedi business. I don't necessarily know if that means Ahsoka's going to come back this episode. I highly, highly doubt that. We also don't really know how, like, obviously she kind of just walks in and whatnot, and it's a surprise to Anakin and everyone, but we don't really know what's going to make her come back. And we also saw in the trailers, I don't know that new character that appears in the trailers, the girl that Ahsoka's talking to a lot. I don't know, Captain, do you know her name by any chance?
I don't know her name, but I'm pretty sure that will be something that the woke section of Star Wars wants to get in.
Another strong forces female character. But
Mhm.
I think that probably how they're going to end up bringing Ahsoka into this is just by judging off with the trailers is that it's going to show a little bit of what she's been up to, kind of like in the underworld of Coruscant, like escaped almost, where the Jedi aren't really going to find her. Well, I mean, like she's welcome back in the Order anyway, but she probably doesn't want to, walk around in the middle of Coruscant and see a bunch of Jedi and say, hey, I remember you and whatnot. She's probably in hiding in a sense, even though she doesn't necessarily have to be. So that obviously she meets this new female character, this new female protagonist at some point down in the underworld. They're exploring and whatnot. So it's probably going to be that they're going to, we'll have a few episodes showing what she's been up to. And, we can even have that like if this happens in episode 2, they could cut to Ahsoka, tell us a little bit about Ahsoka, what she's been up to, show her kind of running around the underworld of Coruscant, going to, a ton of different levels or whatever below the city. And then at the same exact time have the Rex storyline with trying to hunt down and find Echo or whatnot. And because that's the thing with Clone Wars, that we could have all these different storylines even happening at the same time in the same episode. So the Bad Batch was really just following one plot the whole way through. I think that this episode will probably be doing something split, stuff with the clones and stuff with the Jedi kind of going on at the same time. I'm hoping that the Jedi stuff involves Ahsoka. If not, hopefully we get Anakin or Obi-Wan in some like major form, either working with the, I mean, obviously they're working with the clones, but and then Rex will be on his own with the other members of the 501st, maybe trying to find Echo and whatnot. But that's what I'd like to see. Obviously this is just all predictions. None of us work for Disney or Lucasfilm or know Dave Filoni personally. As much as I'd love to have his, phone number in my phone, none of us do. But so we really have no idea. It's just prediction stuff that we'd like to see. And yeah, so that today was a little bit of shorter episode. There's really not that many. There's not that much other news that we really need to touch on. So the Captain and Leo. We'll start with Leo. Do you have any final thoughts before we head off?
Final thoughts. I like the episode. Wish it could have been a little bit longer, and long live the Rambo clone.
Captain, you got anything?
Final thoughts. I'm hungry.
I am too. Let's go get something.
I actually did eat before this, so I am not hungry.
A true final thought is I'm glad to see that Star Wars has returned back to being Star Wars and not some sort of just promotional material for stupid.
That's a merchandising brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my final thoughts, I love the episode, and really just like you guys, pretty short. Just can't wait to see what we're gonna get, what's gonna come next.
More Jar Jar.
Yeah, hopefully we get maybe we'll get Jar Jar the Sith Lord that we've always been looking for.
Misa was a Sith Lord.
Timestamp this moment in the video, and editing Leo, just put a big picture of Darth Jar Jar right here, so all the fans can see a massive picture of Darth Jar Jar while we're talking
right now.
He will be an intricate part of the Clone Wars. Maybe he's maybe him and Maul are teaming up doing something together. Who knows? Maybe that fight in the Jedi Council. The Jedi Temple. Maybe when Ahsoka and Maul are fighting, Jar Jar's just he's the key to all this. Maybe he's the adventure of Jar Jar Binks. Episode 2 working title. Maybe he's just sitting back and watching that fight. Maybe he's controlling it. He's always been controlling everything. His own seat in the galaxy. We all know he was the one to give the power to Palpatine.
He made him the Senate.
Jar Jar knows what he's doing, and he's not to be underestimated. All right. So in all seriousness, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure. And enjoy episode 2 this Friday, and next Monday, a week from today, we'll be bringing you of episode 2, as well as giving you guys our opinions on any other Star Wars news that pops up in the week. So hopefully something will pop up, because this week we really didn't have anything to touch on, to talk about, other than episode 1. So hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more stuff, and we'll be able to bring you guys a little bit of a episode. But for today, that seems like it. And take care.
Bye-bye.
See you guys later.